No, but when he was making radical changes, he said, look, we're serious now. We're going to get serious, and people like liquor. Well, in this country, people like pot. And if we ended that prohibition, that would be a giant boon of money.
Oh, okay. I don't like pot, but I hate the drug war, so I would repeal all the prohibitions. But I wouldn't even bother taxing it. I would just say that people have the right in a free country to make important decisions on their own lives. If they want to make mistakes, they can. They just can't come crawling to the government to be bailed out or taken care of if they get sick. But I believe in freedom of choice in all that we do, as long as the individual never hurts anybody else. So that means I would get rid of all the federal laws. I would dispose with the drug war. We're spending tens, if not hundreds of billions of dollars on this, and then we march into places like California, override state laws, arrest sick people, and put them in prisons. It makes no sense whatsoever.
Amen, Stoner.
First off, your view of Ron Paul.
Well, I think he's the only guy that's saying, listen, we need a radical restructuring of our government. And he's absolutely correct. And he is what a real conservative is supposed to be. I mean, by all stretches of the imagination, I mean, that guy's a real... I mean, there's no way you can say by any stretch of the imagination that he's not a conservative. I mean, he's a real conservative, a fiscal conservative, a social conservative, but he wants people to be able to do whatever they want. He believes in states' rights. He believes that the federal government is completely out of control, that it's too big. He believes that, you know, we have to get rid of the IRS. It's a flawed institution. He believes we have to get rid of the Federal Reserve. He believes all these things that totally make sense. And when he says these things on TV, they laugh, and they make it like it's a joke. Like, even though we know that the system is completely, it's just completely unfixable. I mean, if you look at the way it is now, just it's a honeycomb of corruption and just bureaucratic BS and red tape, and it's just, God, it's
that's
so
what I was about.
Gigantic.
That's my next question. Let's continue along Ron Paul.
It's a business. The government is a business, and we need, and the way this world is structured, it's almost like we need that business to keep running in this ridiculous manner
and it's
in order
predatory.
to keep people working.
Like the drug war. It's predatory.
It is predatory. It feeds on other people. I mean, look, the whole idea behind private prisons, I mean, that's completely insane, that people can profit off of other people being in jail. Well, if that's the case, then they're going to support things that make more people
And they do.
Jail.
They lobby to keep somebody caught with a marijuana cigarette in prison making widgets for them.
You're right, they do, and it's sickening. It's like cannibalism. I mean, it's really like a social form of cannibalism. It's unbelievable that it's legal, and that's all stuff that Ron Paul, you know, what he stands against. And any rational, reasonable person who would listen to Ron Paul talk goes, well, here's a guy who obviously understands the system, was calling the economic collapse way in advance.
30 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, he's a brilliant, brilliant guy, you know, and, I mean, he says a lot of stuff that I don't believe in. Like, he doesn't believe in evolution. You know, he thinks that evolution's a theory.
But the point is, he isn't going to make you believe what he's... And he isn't going to make you...
Exactly.
Capitalism and free market capitalism in America is dead, and I don't see how it's going to be resurrected without a new American revolution, a new declaration of independence. This should be what people in America look for in 2009, is to take back their country and to revolt. That's about the only thing the American people have left to do. And now that the wealth and income gap has widened to levels that you haven't seen since the feudalism in Europe several hundred years ago.
When people lose everything, and they have nothing to lose, they lose it. You're going to see off with their heads. There's going to be another revolution in this country.
When will this revolution that you have forecasted in your Trends Journal happen, and what will ignite it?
It's going to be a tax revolt. We're going to start seeing a tax revolt in the United States. People are one job away from losing everything. We're seeing more and more foreclosures, people being laid off. People, they're stretched to the limits. And what are they doing? New York State, 130 new taxes they're proposing. They're raising sales taxes. There's going to be a tax revolt in this country, from property taxes first and school taxes second. That's where we're going to start seeing it start to happen.
Do you feel people are not hopeful that Obama will make a difference?
People are hopeful, they're desperate, and they're fearful.
We're thinking of having a Chicago Tea Party in July. All you capitalists that want to show up to Lake Michigan, I'm going to start organizing.
What are you dumping in? What are you dumping in this time? Housing,
We're
cars?
going to be dumping in some derivative securities. What do you think about
Mayor
that?
Daley is marshaling the police right now.
Listen, all I know is that there's only about 5% of the floor population here right now, and I talk loud enough they can all hear me. So if you want to ask them anything, let me know. These guys are pretty straightforward, and my guess is a pretty good statistical cross-section of America, the silent majority.
Not so silent majority.
Yeah, not so silent.
So, Rick, are they opposed to the housing thing, to the stimulus package, to everything out there?
You know, they're pretty much of the notion that you can't buy your way into prosperity, and if the multiplier that all of these Washington economists are selling us is over 1, then we never have to worry about the economy again. The government should spend $1 trillion an hour because we'll get $1.5 trillion back.
Wilbur?
Rick, I congratulate you on your new incarnation as a revolutionary leader.
Somebody needs one. I'll tell you what, if you read our founding fathers, people like Benjamin Franklin and Jefferson, what we're doing in this country now is making them roll over in their graves.
I'm full-fledged crazy nuts. You know it and I know it, so here it is. This is what's coming, America. Depression and revolution. That's what's coming. All right.
Don't start the revolution without me. Former governor of Minnesota, Jesse Ventura, your first appearance. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing great.
Start the revolution.
There we go. I'm ready.
Lower taxes?
Yep.
Less government intervention in our lives?
Yep.
Individual responsibility?
Yep.
Secure our borders?
No.
Oh, keep them wide open so enemies can come in?
No. Enemies come in. I don't get the fact that the supposed enemies came in from Canada, so we're fencing off Mexico.
Well, don't our enemies...
How do we manage that? Shouldn't we be fencing off Canada?
Well, both.
Both?
Yeah.
I don't want to live in East Berlin, Sean.
I don't either.
I don't want to live in East Berlin.
But I don't want to live in a country where enemies can cross over at will either.
I look at it this way. We're losing our rights because of the Patriot Act. I would rather, and as I say in my book, and I'm so crass to say, give me liberty or give me death.
I'm with you.
I would rather take my chances with terrorism than to lose my individual rights, which are vanishing every day. My problem is I look at it and I go, how can 2 planes knock down 3 buildings?
Pretty easy. Those hit 747.
But there were 3 buildings that went down.
Well, there was a lot of fire and there was a lot of damage.
Well, first of all, jet fuel blew up at the start. Jet fuel is 4/5. And I don't want to stay on this. I'd rather talk other things.
Yeah.
But jet fuel's 4/5 kerosene. It doesn't burn hot. So using the analogy that it could melt the metal, then propane burns hotter. So if you turn on your camp stove for 3 hours, shouldn't it melt the grates? But it doesn't, does it?
I want to take one issue with...
It doesn't.
I want to...
And I just question...
He's going Rosie O'Donnell on
and
me here.
I do... You know, wait a minute.
That's Rosie O'Donnell.
Well, I know a little bit. How can they fall at the rate of gravity? Look, they fell at the rate of gravity in powder.
Corporate America and religious fanatics have teamed up, and because of that, we're on the brink of fascism.
We are in fascism, in my opinion.
This is a fascist country.
It's getting there, because if you look at what's happening right now, corporate America, I think, controls our government completely with our Democrats and Republicans. And you have, okay, let's look at the religion now. You got ministers coming out endorsing candidates. Well, at that point in time, shouldn't they lose their tax-free status? Because they're now a PAC.
Who do you like for president?
None of the above. I wish that they would offer on all local, statewide, national elections none of the above. So, and you laugh, but I'll tell you why. Here's why. What that says is I'm here to participate, I'm here to vote, but it's a vote of no confidence.
You have a scenario in your
what
book
they're
about...
offering. And wait, and I think that there's cases locally, nationally, and statewide where none of the above would win.
There was a sentence in your report that really caught my attention. You wrote, on 9/11, those who listened to the authorities and returned to their offices went down with the towers. So, are you saying that Americans should not be listening to the officials that are saying these stimulus plans are going to make everything better? Is that the analogy there?
Read my lips, no new taxes. I didn't have sex with that woman, Monica Lewinsky. I smoked, but I didn't inhale. Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction and ties to... Why would anybody believe these people?